not going to do the meeting like you did with that sweet boy, Charlie's cool as you like, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Charlie is so cool.
So like cool, or cool like, or whatever. Yeah, he's good, and it's so simple.
Have you seen his YouTube?
Yeah, but someone sent me it some weeks ago, and I thought this is really odd because what's so good is that there's nothing. He's not trying too hard.
No,
actually
that's what it is.
He's got the secret of all great comedians, which is he's likable.
Yeah.
He's likable, and he's just, he's not straining at it.
No.
And so you can, and of course he's not cute exactly, but he's got those amazing big blue eyes that just make you think, oh bless,
But the one I loved was the naked one. Did you see where he's got no shirt on and his mum comes in?
That's so
What's
funny.
she doing?
His mother's very funny.
Isn't she? She's great. No, because when I did that, I hadn't seen the ones with his mum. His mum's great. No, she's very lovely.
Genuinely is a teenage boy.
Yeah.
You were saying you've got a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
So he's,
that's who he said.
That's his constituency.
You'd never get Charlie is so cool. Like he's too cool for you. That was the big challenge.
It's great that his generation like him, then, isn't it?
Yes.
Is he quite public school?
No, I don't think so. No,
he's because I was trying to work out whether.
I'm not
in that awful
absolutely
English
certain.
way.
Yes.
I thought, no, is this like sort of? Is he like? Maybe Godolphin and Latimer sort of thing, sort of like Hugh Grant was, which is sort of because he's got no regional accent, but nor has he got an Essex estuary.
No, but I mean he's from Bath.
And
I think it's.
He certainly don't speak.
He certainly didn't give me that thing. I mean, I've become hyper sensitive to that with my. No, it's just that I'm sound.
Is your boy to primary school then?
For a while,
right?
And my daughter is now.
And did they enjoy it?
She does.
He didn't.
He didn't.
Where was he? Which one?
Cheltenham College.
Oh right.
Cheltenham College Junior.
I hope you showed him If.
No, he still hasn't seen it, but I mean, that was shot at the
main school.
Yeah, so there's a
boys, I understand you.
Yeah.
One of the great moments of cinema.
Fantastic. Yeah, had, I think, a rather disruptive influence to my own education, seeing that.
Yes, I think it did. From all of ours. I mean, almost everyone I knew who was at a public school said, yeah, but apparently it was shot at Cheltenham, but apparently it was based at and Marlborough. We all thought it was our school.
Because I worked out, when I was driving over this morning, that I did first meet you probably won't even remember, in 1983, I think, at the Drill Hall.
Oh, yes.
When you were there with Hugh and Ben Elton.
That's right.
And you were rehearsing. We were rehearsing. I was in a group called the Joeys.
You were in the Joeys.
Yeah. And we met very briefly in the cafeteria and said hi and didn't, And I think we've probably been in 15 Edinburgh parties together, which I can't remember, but it is quite shocking.
We were rehearsing on different floors in North Acton.
Oh, well, no, we were next to you. We were right next door to you on the last series of Blackadder.
That's right.
We were in the next door room.
So you were. Yeah, I remember because I knew Craig a bit, and obviously I'd sort of bumped into Chris Barry.
Yeah.
And I remember also for Blackadder, we were often in the studio next to David Jason and Nick Lyndhurst.
That's right, they were there. That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Only Fools and Horses. And of course, we always thought, God, everyone loves that show. It's really good and successful. And then, of course, when I got to know Nick, he was the most lugubrious person on the planet. You think? And we always thought your show was really good. It's funny how humans are so.
Isn't it? Aren't we? I mean, I don't know. I've tried to, in my latter years, release some of my insecurities and neurosis about. Well, the best conversation I ever had was with a bunch of grumpy old gits at the Edinburgh Festival a few years ago, Arthur Smith.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to remember that. It was a group of us, all roughly. Yeah, Arnold. Yes.
Excellent.
All moaning and whinging, and then because we knew were people, like the first few shows the Joeys did. Ben Elton did the warm up.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic. We knew actually.
Yeah.
He could go far.
But it is. I mean, not that you're bitter and resentful, but
no.
it's exactly the same in the world of chess, where oddly enough, people get better or not or stay the same, and you never know which is going to happen.
Yeah.
So you often get people. You get a famous grandmaster, or relatively famous, not that many famous grandmasters in the high street, as you might say.
Yes.
But a famous grandmaster, and you'll hear someone who's maybe just an international master or not even a master, will say, I remember I played him in the under 15s. I absolutely.
Oh, I see.
Murdered him. As if to say, I'm still better than him.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that.
Quite,
I'm not saying that's like you.
No, but I mean,
much more subjective. But of course, it's hard not to be annoyed when you think, hang on, I remember when they were a piffling little nobody. You've had a wonderful renaissance with Red Dwarf. I mean, there's this, which is a huge success, and a cult presence, which is always good. But the coming back, that was fabulous.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I did, and I was away, so I had to wait till I got back. I was filming abroad. I thought it went really well, and it was great to see you all there.
It was
battered and bruised in some cases. I mean, Craig's been through it.
He's been through a couple of little incidents.
Yeah, I remember his when he was with Kathy Tyson.
Yes.
Her name?
Well, their son is now 22.
Shut up.
Yeah, and look, Craig's double, except he's about 6'2".
Oh,
He's a big tall lad. And he's has 2 younger daughters who are gorgeous, I think.
Oh, good. I haven't seen Crepes Such Long. Is he happy and...
Yeah, he's hugely, after the last debacle. No, he's fantastic. I mean, he's such an extraordinary man.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, really.
He is.
I think, I mean, it's very unfortunate that often the public perception of him is of a sort of...
Yeah, I think
it's a side of his character. I mean, you know...
Yeah. Especially when under the influence of...
whatever. But he's been really, you know, like soul buddy to me. He's been really good, because I do go a bit wobbly. Because I don't suffer because I don't even know what's going on.
Well, in your makeup all the time, it is actually weird.
It is quite
It's not just makeup.
No.
There's an actor called Richard Brain, which is an unfortunate enough name to be called Dick Brain, but that is his name. And he used to be in Jeeves and Wooster, a wonderful fellow, really good actor, very charming. And he told a story to me once about when he did a commercial and he was wrapped as I think it was for Lockheed's or something like that. And he was wrapped up as a mummy.
Oh, yeah.
Completely wrapped up.
Yeah.
And 2 bizarre things happened. One of them was at about halfway through the morning. There was a slight sort of weird noises and things. He couldn't see. He was literally wrapped up, and you could just sort of move from side to side. And he said, "What's going on?" They said, "Well," and someone started shouting in his ear and said, "I'm afraid the director," he goes, "has just died." The director had a heart attack and died on set. And he said, "But we've got to carry on, so." So someone from the agency or whatever just carried on directing it, and so I mean there was a kind of pause, and he was given a straw to put through so he could. But then halfway through the afternoon, he said, "I'm sorry, I've got to pee," and they went, "Well, we're really behind. Okay, Josh will take you in or whatever." Who knows? Who? Anyway, so he's being led into the gents, and a small square is opened in his old man is pulled out, and he's had a pee, and it's tucked back in again and sewn up, and. Of course, at the end of the shooting, he's unwound and everyone's gone. He has no idea to this day who did it. Wow. Somewhere there's somebody who knows they did this.
Yes.
And
I got off lightly then in that case. Goodness me.
It is. That's never had to happen to you. But how do you?
My new suit has a zip, which is the first, so I can actually go, which was a great relief because I used to have to be unbolted and my final attachment had to be removed. Took quite some time, so you had to warn them well in advance. After this scene, I have got to do it.
It must be very disorienting, I think.
I mean, you get used to it because it isn't that terrible. I can see and hear. It's not like this guy. I mean, that would be. I mean, having the thing made is the most challenging part of it. I don't know if you ever had that mould done.
I have. Yeah,
that's fairly. I found that got harder as the years passed. I didn't mind it to start with, but it did definitely. That's quite disturbing when you're completely separated from the world. And
I do. I mean, those people who specialise in. I met the guy who plays the monster in Pan's Labyrinth at a party in America once. Very nice chap. And he specialises in being in these suits. A bit like Andy Serkis. I mean, Andy Serkis has now shown the world what a brilliant actor he is. He has no need to be in Gollum suits or whatever. I mean, he's a fabulous straight actor, as it were. I mean, but some of the physical stuff he's done has been astonishing.
He was in a play that I wrote.
Really?
I'm very proud to say, yes. It was on at the Hampstead Theatre that got... You can't even say massacred by critics. It got macheted into the ditch. It was very, very heartbreaking.
Nicholas de Jong was cruel.
I don't know I can't remember who it was. There was one particular guy that look at.
There's a Tesla.
Look at that!
Wow!
How could that have happened?
And it can't get on. You can't get it on camera.
No, it's on this camera.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
We're behind a Tesla. I've just been driving them in the States last week.
What did you reckon?
I've driven mine. I mean, I was trying to get one for today, and I couldn't. That's probably it.
And you really enjoyed it?
Oh, they are stunning. They are wicked, stunning cars. They are just.
It's very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
They seem to be doing well. And
follow it. Doesn't matter where. Sorry, I don't care where you're going. We're following the Tesla.
Let's do it. I'm so pleased that his name is memorialised.
Yes.
One of the truly great men of science.
Yeah.
And he's in recent years had a car named after him and been played by David Bowie on screen. You don't get better than that.
That's right. Because he was. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
In The Prestige.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But no, I was in the Tesla Works last week and I saw the S-Class, which is the one we're waiting for.
Yeah, what sort of price will that be?
Half the price of that. I was going to say. It'll be about 40,000.
Which is
it's expensive, but it's not.
It's within the Audi BMW range.
Exactly, and it's very similar to a 7 Series Beamer in size. Big, chunky, big, hefty saloon car with the most. You imagine it's absolute uber nerds that have designed it. So the screen, there's no clocks.
No standard dashboard.
It's a huge 17-inch touch screen down here. That does all the controls, the sat nav, everything. It's hugely interconnected. Yeah. You can order them now, but they're not going to come through. Look, there's people taking pictures of the Tesla.
Yeah. Well, obviously those the petrol heads and you could call them jezza heads. Really.
Jezza heads.
They would be very defensive. There are plenty of people, of course, who have attacked me simply because Jeremy's been on quite a few QIs.
Right.
So how can you have someone like a fascist and?
Really?
And I actually like Jeremy. He's not a fascist. He does say things that are. I suppose you could argue quite successfully, if you wanted to, that it's a bit tiresome constantly to think that you are kicking political correctness in the teeth, and that. Yeah. But he's just, the point is, if he weren't funny and clever, it would be crap.
Exactly,
but he
is funny and clever.
It's a bit like A.A. Gill or someone. He just writes too well for one to dismiss him.
I mean, his A.A. Gill's destruction of Stow-on-the-Wold as the ugliest town in Britain, which I live very near,
and there's a lot of points to that.
Yeah.
I was at prep school in Gloucestershire. Yeah, in Ewley. Do you know Ewley? It's near Dursley.
I know Dursley. Right.
It's about 6 miles south of Stroud. Between Stroud and Dursley.
Yeah, that's a beautiful area.
Absolutely. I age, and I have lots of godchildren and nephews and things. And the one quality I've come to realise is that almost overmasters any other is curiosity. It doesn't matter. I don't really mind whether a godchild of mine knows Latin and Greek. I mean, that's not the point. But it's dull incuriosity that is, to me, the
really heartbreaking,
saddest thing. People are just not curious about.
I would love him to be slightly more curious about the experience of, say, picking up a wet towel after he's had a shower. On a very basic level. Explore that curiosity. Just see what it feels like to do it once.
Yeah. He rightly set a high price on love, but there's a line in a not particularly remarkable Western movie called Shenandoah. Have you seen Shenandoah? There's Doug McClure and James Stewart, a quite old silver-haired James Stewart.
Right.
He plays a father, and the family get involved with the Civil War despite his sort of pacifism.
Right.
And anyway, Doug McClure wants to marry his daughter, and there's a scene he's sitting there with a green cigar on the porch on a rocker, and the guy says, they don't call him Mr. Stewart because we don't know what the character's name is. It's Mr. Stewart. I'd like to marry the daughter. He says, do you like her? He says, well, gee, Mr. Stewart, I love her. So, well, that's not what I asked. I said, do you like her? Not the same thing at all. And I just thought, yes, that's so right. Love is a fabulous storm and a beautiful warm thing.
But you need to like the person too.
Like them. And I think that's true of parents. That sometimes they love their children, but they don't like them. They don't like each other. And
I think it's very common.
It is.
Very common. Yeah.
And also, it's what you want of your children, isn't it? You talk to young mothers who are, they often, I've heard young mothers say that sometimes they stop by their school gates and they look through the railings and they see their child, and they're so relieved because he seems or she seems popular.
Yes.
The other children are talking and laughing with them. And then at other times they come or another parent, and there's the child sitting alone on the step. And they think, nobody likes my little baby. And that's almost more than any other. Not about how clever they are, whether they can play a musical instrument or sport, but are they liked? They don't have to be the most popular child in the school.
No.
But I did an episode of The Young Ones years and years ago, and there was a great line that Rick had on it. They're on the train going up to Manchester to do
the University Challenge. Of course he did. Right, I was just trying to remember which one it was.
It's called Bambi, I think, the name of the episode. And but I just and they're revising on the train for a bizarre scene. And then Rick suddenly loses it and goes, "You've done lots and lots of revision, just like a girl." and it did amuse me. And of course, not having been to a mixed sex school,
right,
I never really had this terrible inferiority that boys secretly feel, though they're too proud to show it.
Yes, that girls
do all that vision, and they swat, and they're neat, and
I was going to go down that way, but I don't know if I really want to.
You will see a man holding a little girl's hand.
Yes. Is she slightly leaning away from...
I think she is. Maybe it's a crime scene. Yeah.
I've not seen that particular time before. It's very...
I did well in exams because I cheated by having a good memory.
Yeah, because I was going to say that. You have to remember those details of that film.
Exam is supposed to be...
exactly.
Is a memory test? Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't feel any particular pride for knowing... For having an absorbent mind, like lavatory paper. I mean, you could argue that the one thing exams test is people with superficial minds and a sort of quick, guileful, glib intelligence, and that is what the world prizes more than true, diligent, industrial, honest, industrious rather, and honest people, and that therefore exams.
I'd like to believe you're right, but I don't know. I think the reason I failed all the amount of exams I did was because I wasn't very clever. That's the simple truth. Yes. A good friend of mine was at the Dragon in Oxford, and all his teachers were sort of Spitfire pilots with terrible facial burns and things like that who survived the war.
My friend Hugh was there, and he said something similar. Right. We had at my prep school as well. I remember there was a Commander Staveley and a Major Dobson.
Yes, I think that was. We were taught by that generation.
And they, I mean, one of them taught us basically snob English, what's called you speak, you know, you and non-you.
You and non-you. My mum was
Nancy
obsessed
Mitford,
with that.
yes, Nancy Mitford brought to the world's attention in a book called Noblesse Oblige.
Noblesse Oblige.
Yeah.
I had it read out to me.
It was actually a man called Alan Ross who invented it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, the idea that you can tell someone's class by the words they use.
Yeah.
So that if they say lavatory, that's more you speak, whereas toilet
Toilet
is
is-
non-you, and mirror is non-you, and looking glass or glass is.
Oh, that shows
a lot
up.
of very
Because I would say lavatory, but I would also say mirror.
Yeah, everyone would now,
yeah.
I think. And actually, I remember Debo Devonshire saying to me that her children said toilet, and her son's now Duke of Devonshire really said so. I mean, the whole thing's changed. Let's be honest. But he taught us, and he not only that, but pronunciation. So he said things like, some boy said, "Oh well, primarily" or something, and he said, "No. Let's just sort this one out once and for all. I don't want any of you. I don't want to hear any of this temporarily, primarily nonsense. It's primarily, temporarily." And so we're going temporally. No, not temporally, temporarily. And now, I'm afraid, and it's not formidable, it's formidable.
Right.
Formidable. It's not exquisite, it's exquisite. And so all these things.
But they go in, don't they? Once you do.
And unfortunately, if I hear temporarily or
sounds wrong.
or interested instead of interested, or the worst, the one
I'd say
still nails on the blackboard for some reason is circumstance. Instead of, and it's not even circumstance, but circumstance.
Circumstance.
Oh, I say it's not even. It's not right or wrong. I'm falling into the same trap. It's just madness.
But I think it's vital that that stuff is maintained, even if it's maintained under a critique.
Absolutely.
That there is something in that.
It's a code. It's a nuance. It's a tribal piece of tribal dress.
Yes,
It happens to be verbal dress rather than anything else. And other tribes are allowed their extraordinary little details that we may not understand.
Yes.
But as long as it's not used exclusively.
Yeah.
I remember Alan Bennett saying once, someone said, "Oh, he's a terrible snob," and Alan said, "Oh, you know, snobbery is quite an amiable vice." And I remember saying, "What is snobbery amiable?" He said, "Oh, well, I mean snobbery that looks up is quite amiable.
Right.
Snobbery that looks down is disgusting."
Right.
Of course it is.
That's very interesting.
But the person we were talking about was a snob in the looking up sense. They couldn't help name-dropping names of princes and dukes and earls and things, but which in the end is an amiable. It doesn't hurt anybody.
No.
Obviously, the snobbery that looks down and says, "You little gutter sniper," or "You're not holding a knife right," that is unforgivable, I think.
Yes.
Because actually, apart from anything else, it shows the person doing it is a vulgarian and absolutely without any class at all.
Yes,
you might say.
in the good sense.
Yeah. This is, I think, am I right? Is this the roundabout that Chevy Chase goes round and round and round and round and round?
Yes, it was on the TV not long ago. Yes.
When Mel Smith plays the disgusting bed and breakfast hotel.
That's right. Yeah.
I did enjoy them. The Griswolds, isn't it?
Yeah. If this camera works, this is a first. This is quite a good tour.
It is, isn't it? We've seen a good part of
London.
London. I'm actually going up the clock tower in a couple of weeks.
Oh, are you in here? Oh,
yeah,
really?
I bumped into
not that. So the other tower, Big Ben. I mean, where Big Ben is.
Where Big Ben is, exactly.
Because that is I talked to Justin about that. That is the glorious thing about QI is those nuggets of. I mean, I'm particularly keen on that when you do historical ones. I mean, those are the ones. The misconceptions that we have about, when you come up with a thing, I go, oh, I never knew that. That's brilliant, that which happens every show.
Or people think they know a thing that...
Yes, absolutely. This is something I thought I knew about.
People think, okay, because it's not Big Ben. It's not St Stephen's Tower, isn't it?
Right.
No, it's not.
Is it not? It's not St Stephen's Tower.
It's just the clock tower.
I thought I was going to be clever and say it.
Exactly. That's it. That's the awful thing about those QI things is they second guess people's, the one that people really think is true that actually isn't.
But I filmed in the Bell Foundry where they made the bell. Do you know?
Whitechapel, is it?
In Whitechapel.
Yes.
Fantastic place.
Oh, it's one of the oldest and greatest.
Yeah. But they can't bear, the guy that tunes the bells there can't bear listening to the...
Because it's not sound.
It's not in tune.
Not sound as.
No, lots of MPs talking.
Oh yes, on St Stephen's Green. Oh wow. Well, obviously now, it used to be that assembly, I think, in Parliament Square wasn't legal, but since the anti-Iraq war chap has been here for so long, they've kind of broken the precedent.
Well, I think also Mark Thomas, comedian Mark Thomas, does some very clever stuff about that.
Well, it's good for democracy to have people protesting, no matter. I always hated that view that people have that you wouldn't be able to do this in Iran, as if exercising your right is an abuse of it. Well, the point is that it's like the very fact that I'm allowed to say them means I should shut up. Bizarre. that building, the fairy tale houses of Parliament.
Yes, they are extraordinary.
Just marvellous. It's just a shame what goes on with it.
Yes, that's the only slight downside.
I made an ass of myself talking about politicians. I kind of probably overdid it, but I was trying to say, look, let's look at ourselves.
Yes,
and everyone now thinks I was speaking on behalf of MPs.
Right.
I have no sympathy for them really, and I don't think they have any particular contrition. I don't think they're sorry.
No.
I just think that was a damn nuisance that the whole thing's been exposed. On the other hand, you know, the day that dawns where I find myself even slightly agreeing with Anne Widdecombe is an unusual day. But, you know, she did say, well, what kind of MPs do we want? You know, it's, yes, the system is ridiculous, but, you know, you will not get elected. Let's say you want to be the Labour Auditory MP for some constituency in Northumberland. Well, you won't get elected unless you live in the constituency. You won't get selected.
No.
You know, the first question they ask is, do you live in the constituency?
Yeah.
Are you going to live in the constituency? Yes, I do live. Yeah. Well, all right, you're in Northumberland, and you've got to come here.
Yeah.
So you need to live somewhere. I mean, should they have bed and breakfast?
Yes.
I mean, do we want to humiliate them into having the cheapest possible Ramada hotel? I mean, is that going to make
dormitories?
Is that going to make us feel better? That that's what we want our politicians and lawmakers to do? Well, no, that's just crazy because we'll get crap people.
Yeah.
All right, we've already got crap people, but they'll be even crapper. So you know, we have to decide whether it should be a well-paid job.
Yes.
It really should.
Yes,
You're
it's a very
running the country.
responsible job.
So it should be well paid enough for someone to have a place to live
Yeah.
in London and in their constituency.
Yeah.
If their constituency is in London, then obviously they don't need it.
Yes.
But the problem, it's a bit like means testing, which was one of the enemies of the working class for 100 years. It was the most pernicious and awful thing to... Now, we're going to start means testing our MPs, so that the ones who can afford it won't get a grant, and the poor ones will. I mean, that's... All right, well, if that's what's wanted, but... But just to sort of lash out at,
no, it's very
God, they've all got
yeah.
their pigs in the trough, it's
Yeah.
all disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have no sympathy, really, I have very little sympathy for most of those who've done stupid things, and apart from anything else, just their dumbness, their lack of PR savvy, to think that they could have duck islands and wisteria and
yes, I mean,
notes without...
the ones that are wrong are so, it is so shockingly kind of, oh, for goodness sake.
Wouldn't it be great if the people who run our country were honest, intelligent, authoritative, articulate, open-minded, interested, curious, wonderful people? Well, we're never going to get them.
No.
Because anyone with those qualities is going to say, I'm going to go near it.
Yeah.
Look what the press do to you. Look what the public think of you.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you make a joke and they go, he made some joke. That shows he's not very serious and God, I've got to behave like a bland arse. Just so that I don't say anything that might, as a joke, offend. So, at least I'm not in Doncaster. Oh, the people of Doncaster are fuck off.
But isn't that, in a sense, that is the way you can get a taste of that? And I didn't want to mention Twitter. But
well, you can.
Isn't it?
You're right.
I mean, we'll only mention it once. But
no, but I do get a sense of that. If I say something casually in passing that accidentally offends someone, and I feel awful because I don't want to offend anybody, but on the other hand, you know, I'm a real person like someone in a pub, and I think of Twitter as being not like people in a pub exactly, but, you know, a sort of openness and friendly ability to chat can't be that bad an idea.
Yeah.
But suddenly... And it's that sort of greasy thing people say, well, no, what I'm saying is if they can say that, it shows a lack of judgment, does it? Bollocks, a lack of judgment. And that's just nonsense.
Yeah.
In that case, Churchill had no judgment whatsoever because he could be very rude and say things that were, you know, shall we say, crude.
Yes.
But, you know, this idea that therefore if you can make a joke about the colour of someone's hair, it means you're the kind of person who can't be trusted to run the economy. Well, I mean, for God's sake, if you can't make any jokes, you're not the person.
Yes.
Oscar, you know, one of the wisest sayings I know is of someone who has no sense of humour is to say they have no sense of humour, and by that I mean to impugn their seriousness. You know?
Right.
You cannot take a serious, level, honest view of the world without a sense of humour. A sense of humour is part of what sees how things are, and it's no accident that people like Churchill and the best kind of people. Their humour is not just a little gilt on the gingerbread. It's not like a little spice to make us, you know, you're not earnestness and seriousness are not the only and necessary tools to get to the truth.
Yes.
I mean, it's a truly serious person does see the humour in the world.
Yeah. And you can always tell that with the most extraordinary, you know, the Einsteins and the...
Yes.
You know, you knew that guy, he loved a gag.
He did, absolutely.
He liked having a laugh.
And it's a thing I often quote, but I do like that Chesterton saying, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly.
Right. Yes.
And lightness of touch and... So, but that's the point. We just won't have politicians who are anything other than bland, pencil-pushing bureaucrats, terrified of offending the press, terrified of having guts, connection, openness, you know, a sort of ability to think openly. You know, instead they have to close down, think, then present, so that they don't make the slightest error. And I just don't want to be ruled by people like that. And more importantly, the kind of people who should be in charge of the country, if in charge is the word, but who at least most have the right by virtue of their connectedness to the world. will be far too wise by definition ever to consider politics.
Yes, yes.
Which
is a shame, isn't it?
It
Because
is
that's what we
terrible
need.
shame.
I mean, it is a terrible
and you
shame.
can blame the politicians to that to some extent.
Yeah.
No question that
Yeah.
they have queered the
own
pitch.
pitch, haven't they? Yes.
They've mired the nest. And you can blame the press for the fact that the press need more than ever sensationalism of this
Yeah.
nature. They need to basically throw all the toys out of the pram in one big go. Damn shame.
I don't know. Do you ever have politicians on QI? I'm trying to remember if I've seen one.
No, we
Not really,
haven't.
really.
No,
I mean, have I
we had
got- have I
John
got
Sargent's
you?
the closest we've
Right.
come, but I don't think he counts as a politician in the least. It is very clever of you to have come all the way.
Well, I thought I'd just go around that little.
I've got my little.
Have you got a special card?
I've got my staff. It calls me staff. I'm not staff, but
Oh, so can we go round the back into
So
the
we
back?
can, yeah,
Oh,
if you want
excellent.
to.
I've never driven down. I've been driven there, but not in my own car. Is this right?
yeah, that's it.
Oh,
I should open the gates for you. We'll show the card. If you wind down the window,
Okay.
there's someone in there.
Oh, because you can go around the back.
Yeah, this could literally. I'll show you. Here we go. There. Hello. Thanks.
This is for the carpool viewers. This is a very exclusive little
This
moment
is-
to
it
go
is.
in through the gates.
Well, of course, it's like backstage at the theatre. Basically,
Yeah.
it is the servants' quarters.
It is, isn't it? Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot more scuzzy.
This is the glamorous
this is
entrance
where
to
we
the land of
servants-
TV.
Yes, exactly. Full of unbelievable quantities of little sort of things on wheels.
Yeah.
Prop cage stuff.
Because if you heard now, you might be better connected to me, because I was talking to Dave Mitchell about that, about BBC Television Centre and whether they're going to keep the studios and what's going to happen. Because we were
I
sort of
don't know.
heartbroken.
I can't bear the idea that they won't.
No.
As you say, where we did Red Dwarf and Blackadder
Yes,
and you know.
Did you shoot the studio stuff of
Blackadder,
of
yeah,
there?
TC 1 and 6 I
Yeah.
think were the ones we used, yeah. And it's going to Fran Laurie there, and I mean,
Right.
so much.
Yeah.
God, it was fun.
Yeah.
And when we did it knowing that 40 Towers had been done there, and Monty
Yes,
Python
and
had been done
yeah,
there.
exactly. Yeah.
It's terribly sad. It's like a piece of cultural history.
It is.
Heritage, isn't it?
It's a heritage, and it's just been flogged off. There's not a lot else you could do with that building.
No.
That's the real sad
There,
thing.
there isn't.
Do I,
No,
you
you
keep
get around
going
the
round?
corner here, and that's where my entrance is, as it were.
Now,
It's
some
the-
people have been asking me if a Prius is dangerous when it's silent, like it is now.
Uh,
because when people are on their, and I was going, of course it isn't. You can hear it coming.
No, I heard a
But
thing.
now-
I heard a
see,
thing in
that-
America. There is a congressman who is
So trying to
to add
get them to make
a
noise.
synthesized noise of a
Yeah,
car.
that is brilliant. Thank you
My
so much.
dear
That was really
Bobby
good. I'm so
Lou.
glad that worked.
Such a pleasure.
Yeah, that
Does
was
sound
great.
like one of the Waltons who's just in the middle of a section
Bobby Lou.
operation. Bobby Lou.
Oh, no, were there people you're with to do with
Yeah,
that?
to
Oh,
do the sound and everything.
Right.
Right here.
So they would be appalled at what I'm doing in here, because the sound quality of my broadcast is not.
We're all appalled at what you're doing.
I think you should be.
I think presumably we're breaking the law, are we, or not?
This is an interesting point.